Circulated penny can become an incredible treasure when it has the right date, mint mark, or rare error. Watch until the end to discover which coin tops the list and why collectors are willing to pay astonishing prices for it. 1 cent with no mint mark. At first glance, it looks worn, stained, and far from perfect. Many people would assume it is only worth 1 cent and might even spend it without a second thought. But experienced collectors know that appearances can be deceiving. Sometimes a coin with heavy circulation, unusual characteristics, or a genuine mint error can attract tremendous interest from collectors. Today we are taking a close look at the 1947 United States Abraham Lincoln wheat. 1 cent without a mint mark, featuring a large date appearance, dirty dark color, and 2 damaged dots on the reverse. We'll explore its history, how it was made, what collectors search for, the role condition plays, the importance of genuine mint errors, and how exceptional examples have created excitement in the coin collecting community. The 1947 Lincoln wheat cent was produced only a few years after the end of World War II. America was experiencing tremendous economic growth as soldiers returned home and industries shifted from wartime production back to civilian manufacturing. Every day, millions of pennies changed hands in grocery stores, post offices, restaurants, and banks. Although these coins were intended for ordinary commerce, decades later, they became fascinating pieces of American history. The Lincoln Wheat Cent series first appeared in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first regular United States circulating coin to feature the portrait of an actual historical figure instead of the symbolic Liberty image. That decision changed American coinage forever. Since then, Abraham Lincoln has remained on the 1 cent coin through several different reverse designs. The obverse of the 1947 wheat cent displays Victor David Brenner's famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right. The word Liberty appears to the left, while the year 1947 is positioned to the right. Across the top is the national motto, "In God We Trust." Collectors pay close attention to every letter, every numeral, and every design element because unusual varieties occasionally emerge from small differences created during die preparation or the striking process. Turning to the reverse, 2 wheat ears frame the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. Along the upper rim appears the Latin motto E pluribus unum. The wheat design symbolizes agricultural prosperity and became one of the most recognizable coin reverses in American history. Because this particular coin has no mint mark, it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. During 1947, the Philadelphia facility produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents for circulation throughout the country. Official records show that more than 190 million Philadelphia Lincoln cents were struck that year, making it a common date under normal circumstances. High mintage alone usually prevents a coin from becoming exceptionally valuable, which is why collectors look for additional qualities that separate one example from millions of others. Many beginners assume that dirt, discoloration, or wear automatically increases value because the coin looks old. In reality, natural circulation wear generally reduces a coin's value. However, an old, dirty coin should never be cleaned before examination. Cleaning often creates permanent scratches and unnatural surfaces that can dramatically lower collector interest. Professional numismatists almost always recommend leaving original surfaces untouched until the coin has been properly evaluated. The dark color seen on many older wheat cents is usually the result of decades of natural oxidation. Copper reacts with oxygen, moisture, and environmental conditions over time, producing shades ranging from brown to deep chocolate, nearly black or even reddish-brown. Natural toning is often acceptable to collectors, while harsh chemical cleaning usually is not. Now let's talk about the 2 damage dots mentioned on the reverse. Most small dents, gouges, or impact marks happen after a coin leaves the mint. These are considered post-mint damage and generally do not increase value. However, collectors carefully examine any unusual raised or recessed marks because a few can actually originate during the minting process. Die chips, die breaks, retained cuds, struck through debris, or other genuine mint-made anomalies may resemble damage to the untrained eye. Distinguishing between mint errors and later damage requires careful inspection under magnification.
One of the first things experienced collectors examine is whether unusual marks are raised above the surface or cut into it. A raised feature often indicates something happened to the die before striking, while an indentation may point toward damage after the coin entered circulation. This difference is one reason professional grading services remain so important in today's marketplace. Collectors also inspect the date closely. The phrase large date is commonly used by many sellers online, although for the 1947 Lincoln wheat cent, there is no widely recognized major large date versus small date variety like those found on some other coin series. Instead, collectors focus on repunched mint marks. Where applicable, doubled dies, die cracks, die chips, off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, lamination errors, and dramatic strike abnormalities. Lamination errors are particularly interesting because they occur when impurities or weaknesses exist within the metal strip before the coin is struck. Portions of the surface may peel away, creating unusual textures or missing metal. These errors occurred occasionally during production and can increase collector interest depending on severity. Another sought-after variety involves doubled dies. During die creation, if impressions become slightly misaligned, letters or numbers may appear doubled on coins struck from that die. Strong doubled dies are among the most famous and valuable mint errors in American numismatics because they originate during die manufacture rather than after the coin enters circulation. Die cracks provide another fascinating example. After striking thousands of coins, steel dies begin to fatigue. Small cracks may develop, producing raised lines across the finished coins. Minor die cracks are relatively common, while dramatic retained cuds or extensive die breaks can become highly collectible. Strike quality also varies. Some 1947 wheat cents display sharper details than others because of differences in die wear, striking pressure, and planchet preparation. Collectors especially appreciate examples with strong hair detail above Lincoln's ear, crisp lettering, and bold wheat lines on the reverse. Even though most circulated 1947 cents are inexpensive, outstanding examples preserved in brilliant original mint state condition have achieved impressive prices over the years. Coins certified at the highest grading levels by respected grading companies become increasingly scarce because so few survive decades without entering circulation. Professional grading organizations examine authenticity, surface preservation, strike quality, luster, eye appeal, and originality. Their certification gives buyers greater confidence during high-value transactions. Coins housed in tamper-evident holders often command stronger prices because authenticity concerns are reduced. Auction records demonstrate an important principle in numismatics. Two coins of the same date may differ in value by thousands of dollars depending on grade, rarity, eye appeal, and whether they possess a recognized mint error. That is why careful examination matters far more than assumptions based solely on age. Online marketplaces sometimes advertise ordinary wheat cents for extraordinary amounts. Asking prices should never be confused with actual selling prices. Serious collectors rely on completed auction results, certified grades, and expert authentication instead of ambitious online listings. If your 1947 Lincoln wheat cent truly displays an unusual feature that appears different from ordinary circulation damage, the first step should be documenting it with clear, high-resolution photographs taken under proper lighting. Images of both sides and close-ups of the date and unusual marks help experienced collectors provide preliminary opinions. Using a quality magnifying glass or digital microscope allows closer examination of lettering, numbers, rims, and suspicious features. Many valuable discoveries have been made simply because someone looked carefully before spending an old coin. If specialists believe a coin might possess a genuine mint error, submitting it to a respected third-party grading service can establish authenticity and assign an official grade. Certified examples usually attract more confidence from buyers than uncertified coins. Now imagine an extraordinary scenario. Suppose this seemingly ordinary 1947 wheat cent were discovered to possess a previously undocumented dramatic mint error combined with exceptional historical significance and overwhelming collector demand. In such a unique situation, competitive bidding at a major auction could escalate rapidly as elite collectors compete for ownership. Under those highly unusual circumstances, a spectacular rarity might inspire bidding well beyond ordinary expectations, with some enthusiasts imagining values exceeding $700,000. Such outcomes, however, would depend on extraordinary rarity, verified authenticity, and intense competition rather than the normal characteristics of an everyday 1947 wheat cent. That possibility is exactly why knowledgeable collectors never dismiss old coins without careful examination. History has shown that genuine mint errors, remarkable preservation, and rare varieties occasionally emerge from collections that remained untouched for generations. Every coin tells a story, and every careful inspection is an opportunity to learn something new about America's rich numismatic heritage. The next coin in today's collection is another classic piece of American numismatic history, the 1934 United States Abraham Lincoln wheat. 1 penny without a mint mark in circulated fine condition. At first glance, this coin may appear to be nothing more than an old copper cent that has spent decades passing from one hand to another. Its surfaces show honest circulation wear, its details have softened over time, and its original bright red color has faded into the familiar brown tone seen on many vintage wheat pennies. Yet for dedicated collectors, every 1934 Lincoln wheat cent represents an important chapter in American history, and certain exceptional examples can generate tremendous excitement whenever they appear at auction. To understand why this coin continues to attract collectors nearly a century after it was struck, it helps to travel back to the America of 1934. The nation was still recovering from the devastating effects of the Great Depression. Millions of Americans struggled financially, unemployment remained high, and every single penny carried meaningful purchasing power. Small denomination coins like the Lincoln wheat cent circulated constantly through grocery stores, gas stations, restaurants, post offices, schools, and local businesses across the country. Although millions of these pennies were produced for everyday commerce, very few people at the time imagined that future generations would carefully study their designs, preserve them in protective holders, and compete to own the finest surviving examples. Today, collectors appreciate these coins not only for their potential value, but also for the historical story they represent. The Lincoln Wheat Cent series first debuted in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner, the coin became the first regularly circulating United States coin to feature the portrait of an actual president instead of the traditional image of liberty. That historic decision permanently changed American coinage and established one of the nation's most recognizable coin designs. Looking closely at the front of the 1934 wheat penny, collectors immediately notice Lincoln's right-facing portrait. Above his head appears the national motto, "In God We Trust." To the left is the word liberty, while the date 1934 is positioned on the right side. Since this example has no mint mark beneath the date, it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The reverse design features 2 elegant wheat ears surrounding the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. Across the upper rim appears the Latin motto E pluribus unum. This simple yet timeless reverse remained in production until 1958, making it one of the most beloved designs in American numismatic history. The Philadelphia Mint struck approximately 219 million Lincoln wheat cents during 1934. While that mintage figure makes the date relatively common compared to key date issues such as 1909 SVDB or 1914D, collectors understand that survival in premium condition is a completely different story. The overwhelming majority entered circulation immediately and experienced decades of wear. Fine condition indicates that the coin has seen considerable circulation while still retaining important design elements. Lincoln's portrait remains easily recognizable. Much of the lettering is bold, and portions of the wheat ears are still visible despite noticeable wear. Coins in this grade provide collectors with an affordable connection to American history while preserving enough detail for proper identification. One of the first characteristics specialists examine is surface originality. An untouched coin with natural brown color often attracts stronger collector interest than one that has been aggressively cleaned or polished. Harsh cleaning removes original surfaces and frequently leaves fine scratches that reduce both eye appeal and long-term value. Collectors also study the strike quality. Some 1934 Lincoln cents display exceptionally sharp details because they were struck from fresh dies using proper striking pressure. Others exhibit weaker features caused by worn dies or slight variations during production. Strong lettering, crisp wheat lines, and clear hair detail above Lincoln's ear remain highly desirable. The date itself deserves careful inspection. Genuine doubled dies, although uncommon for this issue, can dramatically increase collector demand. A doubled die occurs during die creation rather than after striking, causing noticeable doubling on letters, numbers, or design elements. Strong examples become important collectibles because they represent true mint-produced varieties. Die cracks provide another interesting area of study. After producing thousands of coins, steel dies gradually developed stress fractures. These cracks appear as thin raised lines on finished coins because the crack existed within the die itself. While minor die cracks are relatively common, larger die breaks and retained cuds generate far greater collector interest. Collectors should also inspect the coin's rim. Broad strikes, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and other striking errors occasionally escaped quality control and entered circulation. These genuine mint errors are significantly different from ordinary post-mint damage caused by everyday use. Another fascinating error category involves lamination flaws. During planchet production, impurities within the metal strip occasionally created weak layers that separated after striking. Portions of the surface might peel or lift away, producing dramatic visual effects. Verified lamination errors often command premiums because they originated during the manufacturing process. Color classification also plays an important role in evaluating Lincoln wheat cents. Professional grading services generally classify copper coins as red, red-brown, or brown. Most circulated 1934 cents fall into the brown category because decades of exposure naturally transformed the original mint color. While brown examples remain popular, fully red mint state coins are substantially scarcer and frequently command much higher prices. Professional grading companies carefully evaluate every aspect of a coin before assigning a numerical grade. Surface preservation, strike quality, luster, eye appeal, originality, and authenticity all contribute to the final assessment. Certified coins typically enjoy greater confidence among buyers because respected experts have verified their authenticity. Many new collectors mistakenly believe that every old wheat penny is worth thousands of dollars. In reality, age alone does not determine value. Instead, rarity, condition, recognized mint errors, historical significance, and collector demand work together to establish market prices. An ordinary circulated example may sell for only a modest premium over face value, while a spectacular certified rarity can realize dramatically higher auction results. Auction houses remain the preferred marketplace for exceptional Lincoln wheat cents because competitive bidding often reveals true collector demand. When multiple advanced collectors pursue the same coin, prices can increase rapidly, particularly if the example possesses an unusual combination of rarity, eye appeal, and certified quality. Photographing an old coin correctly is essential before seeking opinions. High-resolution images under natural lighting allow specialists to examine surfaces, lettering, the date, and possible mint errors. Clear close-up photographs often reveal details invisible to the naked eye. Collectors also recommend using a digital microscope or quality magnifier when examining older wheat pennies. Small die chips, doubled lettering, repunched design elements, and other subtle features become much easier to identify under magnification. One of the most common mistakes made by beginners is cleaning old copper coins in an attempt to improve appearance. Cleaning almost always reduces collector value because it permanently alters the original surface. Even heavily toned or dark coins should remain untouched until evaluated by experienced professionals. Building a collection of Lincoln wheat cents remains one of the most rewarding areas of American numismatics. The series spans nearly 50 years and includes key dates, fascinating mint errors, beautiful historical designs, and affordable entry points for new collectors. Many experienced numismatists began their hobby by searching through jars of old wheat pennies. The 1934 Philadelphia issue occupies an interesting place within that series. Although not considered a classic rarity by itself, It represents an important Depression-era coin that connects collectors with one of the most significant periods in American history. Every worn example tells the story of countless everyday transactions that occurred during challenging economic times. Now imagine an extraordinary possibility. Suppose a seemingly ordinary 1934 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark were discovered to possess an extraordinary previously unknown mint error verified by leading authentication experts. If that coin also displayed remarkable originality, unique die characteristics, and unmatched historical significance, fierce competition among elite collectors at a major auction could drive bidding to astonishing levels. Under such exceptional circumstances, enthusiasts might imagine a record-breaking result exceeding $925,000. Such a price would require an extraordinarily rare and authenticated specimen rather than an ordinary circulated 1934 cent. That possibility continues to inspire collectors around the world. Every old wheat penny deserves a careful inspection before it is dismissed as ordinary pocket change. Hidden among millions of common coins, genuine mint errors and remarkable varieties have occasionally surfaced when least expected. Whether your 1934 Lincoln wheat cent ultimately proves to be a modest collectible or an extraordinary discovery, it remains a timeless piece of American history that continues to capture the imagination of coin enthusiasts generation after generation. Our next coin is the 1941 Lincoln wheat cent without a mint mark, featuring the large date style in circulated condition with some damage. While most examples remain affordable, exceptional error varieties, remarkable minting mistakes, and extraordinary certified specimens have achieved impressive prices at major auctions. Throughout this video, we'll examine its history, design, mintage, collector demand, valuable varieties, and the factors that determine its market value. Be sure to watch until the end, because one small detail could make the difference between a common wheat penny and a truly desirable collector's piece. The first coin in today's video is the United States Abraham Lincoln wheat 1 cent, dated 1941, without a mint mark. At first glance, this coin appears to be another ordinary wheat penny that circulated through American commerce during the early years of the 20th century. Millions of people carried coins exactly like this in their pockets while purchasing groceries, paying bus fares, and conducting everyday business. Yet decades later, these same coins have become treasured reminders of American history and remain among the most widely collected coins in the United States. The year 1941 marked an important period in American history. The nation was slowly emerging from the hardships of the Great Depression while facing increasing international tensions that would soon lead to the country's involvement in World War II. Every cent struck during this year became part of daily commerce at a time when every penny carried meaningful purchasing power. Families carefully counted their coins, children saved Lincoln cents in small banks, and merchants handled thousands of these pieces every week. Because they circulated extensively, many examples now show considerable wear, scratches, rim bumps, and other signs of long use. The Lincoln wheat cent series itself began in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It represented a historic change in American coinage because it was the first regularly circulating United States coin to feature the portrait of an actual president. Prior to that time, American circulating coins generally displayed symbolic representations such as liberty instead of real historical figures. The decision to honor Abraham Lincoln reflected his lasting influence on the nation and introduced one of the most recognizable coin designs ever produced by the United States Mint. The obverse of the 1941 Lincoln wheat cent displays the dignified portrait of Abraham Lincoln created by sculptor Victor David Brenner. Lincoln faces toward the right with remarkable simplicity and realism. Above his portrait appears the national motto, "In God We Trust." The word liberty is positioned to the left while the date 1941 appears to the right. On coins produced at the Philadelphia Mint during 1941, no mint mark appears beneath the date, making the absence of a mint mark the correct feature for Philadelphia production. The reverse design features two elegant wheat ears surrounding the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. Across the upper edge appears the motto E pluribus unum. This classic reverse remained in production until 1958 before being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design beginning in 1959. Today, the wheat reverse remains one of the most beloved designs in American numismatic history because of its clean appearance and unmistakable symbolism representing American agriculture and prosperity. The 1941 Philadelphia Lincoln wheat cent recorded an enormous mintage exceeding 800 million pieces. Such a large production means ordinary circulated examples remain relatively common today. However, collectors understand that mintage alone never tells the complete story. Condition, strike quality, original surfaces, attractive color, certification, and especially mint errors can dramatically influence market value. Even among coins produced in the same year, remarkable differences in desirability can exist depending upon these characteristics. When examining a circulated 1941 wheat cent, collectors first evaluate the amount of remaining detail